This November, I'm gonna write a novel in 30 days.
Hey everybody, since you may have missed my NaNoWriMo bootcamp, and NaNoWriMo is getting closer and closer, you might be interested in my How to Prepare for NaNoWriMo at the very last minute, which will be October 30th at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. You can prep an awful lot for it, and you can do it at the last minute. I'll tell you how to do that if you check me out at speakeasy.com. The link will be in the show notes.
But I've only got 50,000 words to go before the end of NaNoWriMo.
Bullies are everywhere. They're not going away, and the worst bully, well, we'll talk about that, because this is I Should Be Writing, Season 17, Episode 71.
Well, I should be writing. I should be working on my craft. I should be writing. I should be submitting my next draft. But I'm sitting home watching Doctor Who.
And hi there. This is I Should Be Writing. It's the podcast for wannabe fiction writers. I'm your host, Mer Lafferty. I stream live on Twitch Tuesdays and Thursdays, 3 o'clock Eastern Time. I have written 7 books, several novellas, several short stories. I've been nominated for the Hugo, the Nebula, the Philip K. Dick Award, and I've won the Hugo for my podcasting. Always feels weird to list that out, but sometimes I feel like I should probably list my credentials somewhere. But yeah, I do this podcast because I didn't have something like this when I was leaving college, and I did not write for 10 years. And now I've got I just tried to use this podcast to tell other people that whatever you're feeling about your creative life, you're probably wrong. And sitting back and doing nothing is not helping you at all. I don't like people to, I don't like hearing that people quit unless, there's quitting because you're discouraged and quitting because you don't want to do it anymore. It is a difference. So yeah, what I've been working on is I started my super secret project and had my first meeting and it went well. So they like my stuff, which is surprising, but we're going to talk about that mindset too. Yeah, and I have copy edits for a novel and novella sitting with me. And of course, this morning I just decided to start a new thriller based in Stardew Valley. Serial numbers sanded off, of course. And wrote about 1,500 words on that, so I'm not sure if that's the best use of my time, but anyway. Yeah, so that's what I've been up to. My only good news is the fact that fall is here, and I did have a good meeting with the team last week, and things are going well. So now I like to ask you guys what kind of good news you have. Would love to hear it. I do have one little bit of good news in email, I believe. I'm going to look for that. You guys fill the chat with your good news, and then I will read it out. Here we go. The Kickstarter for an anthology I'm in, Tiny Nine, that's what it should have been called. Should have been called that. 99 Tiny Terrors just went live. Did anyone say it out loud before they went ahead with it? Because, yeah. Maybe it's just me that has a problem. Anyway, congratulations, Preemie, hitting the yay button. Check out Kickstarter and 99 Tiny Terrors. And we're hitting the yay button for applause. We got not writing, but I got nerve blocks and trigger point injections, which will mean less pain. That's fantastic, Kit. Really glad. Really hope that you'll be able to focus on not pain now. Recently accepted a bunch of stories from my podcast. Sending out checks makes me happy. Congratulations, Nobilis. Mine isn't huge. I don't care, Todd, if it's good news and you feel comfortable sharing it. We want to hear it. Tree Lobsters just hired a book cover artist for the first time. That's excellent. I'm sorry I couldn't give you any more help from the DM you sent me, but I'm glad you made some decisions. Pain definitely makes writing harder. Exactly. I sold some cross-stitch kits for the first time in a few years, so that's cool. Well done, Crafter. Awesome. And I'm going to read the email. Lauren writes, I wanted to share some of my recent good news with you. Since listening to your podcast, both I Should Be Writing and Ditch Diggers were super helpful. Started listening in 2015. I'm over the moon to tell you I now have an agent, Hannah Bowman. I can't tell you how thrilled I am. I first heard of Hannah when listening to your Ditch Diggers agent author episode with Cameron Hurley and Hannah all the way back in 2016. So, nothing makes me happier than finding out that my show has helped somebody, either in a mental health kind of way or in a writing career kind of way. So, congratulations, Lauren. That's amazing. I hope you and Hannah work together for a very long time. And everything goes well. Yes, I've heard amazing things about Hannah, mostly from Cameron. Okay. I was able to create a roadmap for my next story today. Todd, that's not minor, that's huge. I hate outlining, so that's a major feat for me. So don't hesitate to tell me this. It's great. Okay, so if you have any more good news, let me know. But we'll move on. Got a bunch of work proposals. Finally decided on one to start the proposal with. You had me at Feathered Dragon. Awesome. Excellent. Okay, good. Thanks, guys. All right. So the topic of today is bullies. Because our worst bullies are in our own heads. And they're meaner to us than most people have been. I know people who have been horrifically bullied. I am not talking about that. I'm just talking about a lot of times the things you say in your head to yourself are worse than anything most people say to you in a day. And so someone posted, what do I do when my brain is telling me this is absolute garbage? And this is what made me stop writing for years and years. And this is what makes me start things and then stop them out of fear. And it's what takes probably greatly talented people and makes them not writers because they can't work through the crappy beginning stories that you need to work through in order to learn your trade. So I want to talk a little bit about bullies and how to handle them when they're in your own head. First thing would be, there's always spite. Spite works for a lot of people. Spite works for people who get bad reviews. You know, just, fine. You don't want me to write that? I'll show you. I don't know if it works in my head or not, but it seems like a good place to start. Just, you know, I don't care what you think. I'm writing it anyway. Yeah, so there's that. There's the spite thing, which, you know, a lot of times, if you're not necessarily a really combative, aggressive personality like me, the spite only goes so far. But after that, there's logic. Logic usually helps, because logic says, every writer I know personally, I'm thinking of Neil Gaiman right now, because he said this, has a point in their project where they go, this is absolute dreck. This is dribble. I'm going to go look up all the thesaurus words for what this is, because it ain't good. And they think they've peaked, or they think they never will peak. They think that they feel a little betrayed by their own creativity, because how could I have thought this was a good idea? Now that I've figured out the killer, how am I not projecting who the killer is all the way through? It's obvious to me since I'm putting down these clues. Isn't it obvious to anybody else? And just all the things. Oh, somebody wrote a book like the thing I want to write. Well, clearly I can't finish. It just... Logic says, and my experience says, everybody feels this way. Unfortunately, it doesn't make the feeling go away, but hopefully putting that in your head will remind you that it's not true. You're telling yourself that because you're reacting to fear, and that could be all kinds of things. But specifically, it's not true. That's your little voice in your head just yammering away. Like the little Bichon that likes to bite my pant legs. And really, that's all. And you know, like the little fuzzy dog, that's a good metaphor because, yeah, it's annoying. And I guess you could let it stop you. Sometimes it'll draw blood, but really, you can move past it. It might latch on and hold on and be dragged for a little ways, but, you know, you can move past it. So, even if you're thinking, well, yeah, but, you know, Murr and Neil Gaiman and all these people, they're wrong, but I'm right when I say it's crap. Who cares? One of the worst things about being a beginning writer is the fact that no one cares about your writing. One of the best things about being an amateur writer is nobody cares, so you can write whatever you want. You can try anything. You can go as awful as you want. You can think, maybe I'll tell this in second person future tense. Please, God, don't send that to me. But why not? You have the freedom to try out anything you want. Well, career writers are thinking, well, the next thing I write has got to be publishable so I can eat. And always remember that if you wanted to run a marathon and you left the house and you did not run 26 miles on your first day of training, would you consider yourself a failed runner? No, because obviously you've got to work up to that. You've got to work on your you got to work on your endurance, you got to work on your speed, you've got to work intervals, you've got to figure out paces and what's the phrase when you run faster the second half than the first half? See, I haven't even figured it out yet, but when I read Runner's World, people bring it up like they know what they're talking about, so. But there's so much you have to learn. And you know that if you just, walk a half mile, that's great. So you got to remember that your half mile is going to be a bad story. And that's okay. We all write them. All of us. Some of us still do. You've got to allow yourself to write poorly if you ever hope to write well. Just think of it like you're training for a marathon. I'm not even saying the endurance thing does not compare entirely, because I'm not asking you to write a book in one sitting, but it's the monumental effort of creating something I'm holding akin to the monumental effort of running a marathon. You work up to it. You learn the craft. You realize that perhaps if you study X, Y, and Z, you might move ahead faster, such as intervals or the splits. Something splits. That's what it is. I can't remember all my running jargon. Sorry. Negative splits. Got it. You'll run negative splits. And then, that is your writing workshop. That is your weekend class you take, the lecture you download. That is taking your favorite book of all time and a highlighter and going through and marking the parts that moved you and looking to figure out what they did to do that. Taking it apart. I have never done this, but I have heard that some people tell beginning writers to take your favorite short story and write it. Like just copy it. And we're not talking on a plagiarism level. We're just talking as your hands are making the words that someone else thought up, you might be able to connect with that method of storytelling. I've never done it. I would recommend doing it on a short piece you like. But yeah, there's a lot of work to be done. And even if your bully inside your head is absolutely right, that doesn't mean you can't get better. The only thing that will make you not get better is not writing. So that is... Oh, cool. Thank you, Squirnshell. I took my favorite books and did Save the Cat outlines just to get the feel for it. That's an excellent idea. So yeah. Because I listened to that voice, I missed several years of my writing career. And things have been pretty good since, 2000. So I'm happy with where I've gone, definitely. But actually, it wasn't 10 years, was it? I'm sorry. I've been saying it's 10 years my whole life, but I graduated in 95, so 6 years. Huh. It's a lot less than 10. Anyway, just had an epiphany. I can count. Right. So, 1 year is too much. There are reasons you can stop, but don't make you think you're bad. Try not to make that one of them. I forget who said it, but someone's like, if it's going to take you 10 years to learn how to do something, that's really long. But someone else said, well, those 10 years are going to pass anyway. So why not spend a little bit of your time trying to improve yourself with something? So yeah, that is my message for this Tuesday. I am behind in podcast production, so I'll start getting those out shortly. You can learn more about those if you want to download later at merverse.com, which is where you can find the books that I write, the podcast that I produce, and all that stuff about me. So if you want to find me on Twitter, I am Mighty Mer. On Twitch, also twitch.tv/MightyMer. If you have any questions, need a attaboy or attagirl or attafolks, just email me, mightymer@gmail.com. I'm happy to hear from people. Not always the best at answering immediately, but I do my best. And I'm sure there's something else I can say to promote something, but NaNoWriMo's coming and my brain is already getting a little frazzled thinking about that. So I'm just going to sign off here, and I'll see you next time. And you should be writing. I Should Be Writing is available to you under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derivatives license. Theme music by John Anelio. Art by Numbers Ninja. Production by Summer Brooks. And hosting by Libsyn. Find all of this information and more at merverse.com. And remember, we can't do this without you. Thanks for your support.
I should be writing. I should be working on my craft. I should be writing. I should be submitting my next draft. But I'm sitting home watching Doctor Who. Yeah, I'm sitting home watching Doctor Who.